dismembered his victims, bagged the bloody bits and hefties, and tossed them in the bay. Dozens of bodies strewn across the ocean floor.
Ah, the good old days.
Dexter Morgan has been living under an assumed identity as Jim Lindsay in the small, snowy town of Iron Lake, New York. He's built a quiet, peaceful life for himself, working at a local fish and game store and dating the town's police chief, Angela Bishop. Dexter has kept his dark passenger at bay, abstaining from killing for nearly a decade. However, his world begins to unravel when his teenage son, Harrison, tracks him down. Harrison's arrival stirs up Dexter's past, and Dexter starts to wrestle with his true identity as a father and a killer. Harrison shows up in Iron Lake, looking for his father, after having been abandoned when Dexter faked his death. There's tension between the two, as Harrison harbors resentment, but also yearns for a relationship with Dexter. Harrison himself appears troubled, showing signs of a dark side, which echoes Dexter's own childhood trauma. The dynamic between them drives much of the emotional tension in the show. Throughout the series, it becomes apparent that Harrison might have inherited some of Dexter's darker tendencies, as he shows signs of violence and exhibits a fascination with Dexter's own past as a killer. The question of whether Dexter will embrace Harrison's potential for darkness or try to save him from it becomes a key thematic struggle. Matt's father, Kurt Caldwell, is a wealthy and respected businessman in Iron Lake, but he harbors his own dark secret. He's also a serial killer who has been murdering young women for years. Kurt becomes suspicious of Dexter when his son disappears and begins to investigate, eventually clashing with Dexter in a game of psychological warfare. Kurt's obsession with getting revenge for his son leads to a dangerous conflict that brings Dexter's carefully crafted life crumbling down.
Stop! You're not fighting! I need him here. It'll keep me from killing again.
You selfish psycho. You emotionally handicapped, crazy fuck. If by some goddamn miracle you don't end up killing him, you will sure as shit fuck him. It's not just about you anymore.
I know!
Do you?
It was a one-time slip-up. It doesn't change who I am.
Who is that exactly?
Stop.
Dexter's sister, Deborah, who died in the original series, appears in the form of Dexter's inner voice or conscience throughout New Blood, much like Dexter's father Harry did in the original series. Deborah's presence adds a psychological layer, as she represents Dexter's guilt and self-loathing. Dexter's girlfriend, Angela, who is a police chief, starts to suspect that Dexter isn't who he claims to be. After finding clues connecting him to the Bay Harbor Butcher, Dexter's alias from his previous life, she launches an investigation that puts Dexter in serious danger.
Do you remember the Bay Harbor Butcher?
Christa, that was a gruesome one.
What can you tell me about Sergeant Dokes?
I sat next to him every day for 10 years.
Do you believe that he did it?
My old captain actually thought it was someone else in the precinct.
Who?
Dexter Morgan, but he died years ago.
Check your email.
Okay, hold on. Madre de Dios. Dexter Morgan is alive.
In the final episodes, Angela closes in on the truth about Dexter. Harrison also learns about Dexter's dark past, including the fact that Dexter killed people who he deemed deserving of death. Although Harrison initially seems to embrace his father's moral code, he ultimately rejects it. As the walls close in, Dexter realizes he can't escape his fate. After a confrontation with Angela, Dexter is arrested for his crimes. In a desperate attempt to escape, Dexter kills a police officer, which finally shatters Harrison's trust in him. The series ends with a dramatic and emotional finale. Harrison, horrified by Dexter's actions, ultimately decides to stop his father's killing spree. In a heart-wrenching moment, Dexter accepts his fate, realizing he can never truly escape who he is or live a normal life. He gives Harrison his blessing to kill him, and Harrison shoots Dexter, ending his father's life. Harrison then flees Iron Lake with some money and leaves behind his father's legacy, possibly hinting at a new beginning for him.
This is the only way out. Until now.
At the heart of Dexter, New Blood is the father-son relationship between Dexter and Harrison. It explores themes of inheritance, both of trauma and moral dilemmas, and whether Harrison will follow in Dexter's footsteps or forge his own path. Unlike the original series, where Dexter seemed to evade the consequences of his actions, New Blood focuses on the idea that Dexter's past will eventually catch up to him. The revival serves as a form of closure for both Dexter and fans of the series, with a more definitive and morally consequential ending.
Would my mom still be alive if it weren't for you? Would Aunt Deb still be alive? And me?
I want you to remember that every single day until I see you again. Daddy loves you.
I destroy everyone I love. I can't let that happen to him, to Harrison. I have to protect them from me.